Here we go. Okay.
Hello, my name is Tom, and I'm an addict. Welcome to TBRCNA 18. Wow, a lot of people. Hey, tonight I have the privilege to introduce a woman who, she is, we talk about brothers and sisters in the fellowship, and she is probably as much of a sister as I could ever imagine. I met this woman back in California 22 years ago when I came stumbling into the rooms in a meeting called the zoo. And at the zoo, they even told you to check your weapons at the door. It was crazy. Bikers and everything else. And I was scared to death, And she took me under her wing. In fact, actually, she even held the baby shower for my oldest, who just turned 20, before she was born, and so we go back a long ways. Well, after leaving and coming back into the rooms, I ended up finding her again on Facebook, and at this time she was still living in California, and she promised me that one day, if I could ever get out there, or if she got out here sometime, she would give me this big, huge hug. And she promised me that, and I said, yeah, that's going to happen, okay. Fast forward, this was way back when I was living up in Memphis, and fast forward, we moved down here, and been here for a couple of years, and the next thing you know is I find out she moved to Corpus Christi. And so then we promised that we would see each other. Either she'd come up here or I'd go down there at some point. And at ECNA 3, Saturday morning, anybody that's been to ECNA 3 knows the staircase that goes from the second floor into the first floor. I was walking down the staircase, and I suddenly just looked to the left down into the breakfast area, and at the same time she looks up at me, and we both just locked eyes, and immediately she yells, "Tommy?" And I said, "Kari?" And I come running down the stairs like like those movies or whatever. And we hugged each other for like 5 straight minutes, and we did not break into tears, but we almost did. Maybe we were definitely misty. And for some reason, all weekend long, and whenever we got to see each other in meetings, we went to workshops together, we held hands all the time. And the basic text describes love as the flow of life energy from one person to another. And I could be, I'm paraphrasing that, but to me, Kari, I love this woman, and if you get a chance to meet her, or if you don't know her, get to know her. She is such a wonderful, beautiful woman. Anyway, Kari, come on up. Yeah.
I said, I think you're probably going to share too long. And he's not kidding, man. When we were at ECNA last year, every person I met, it was like, and this is my friend Kari, and I've known her for 22 years. It was awesome. Can you guys hear me in the back? I want to make sure. I don't want to yell. I don't like that when people yell. I'm Kari. I'm an addict. Wow! Welcome to the TBRCNA 18. How bitchin' is this? Yeah. Is just say thank you to every service person and every service committee that put this thing together. I think they need a big deal to do something like this. So I'm really, thank you guys for putting this together. I have to thank my sponsor, Nikki. Everything I have, I got from her. She taught me so much about how to work this program and how to apply the steps in my life, and I owe everything to her. And because of her loving this little addict right here, I've been able to have my own sponsorship family, right? The Cabana Misfits are sitting in the front row. That's right, thank you. My very 2 best friends from California flew in for me. They are sitting right there. It's Brian and Sally. If you get a chance, please say hello to them. most favorite people in California. We've got the Cabana Taberna 19 sitting in the second row. So let's make sure you want to be a part of next year's convention. There they are. Ta-da! All right. By the time I was 28 years old, I had 5 abortions, 2 live children, one that I kept and one I put up for the adoption the day she was born. I was a pirate. I stole metal out of one scrapyard and turned it into the other one the next day. Man, I was a bartender from the minute I could get my bar card in Portland, Oregon when I was 21. So that just tells you I was a dummy. I was a big dummy and I didn't know what I was doing, right? I had no clue. I had no clue. I had a really, really rough childhood when I was a little kid. I had a whole bunch of really bad shit happen to me. I'm just going to tell you, it was the babysitter's husband, period. 8, 9, and 10. You all don't need to know any more than that. Because you get it. You get it. If you're here, you know what I'm talking about. I want people to be honest in here tonight. Are there any relapsers in here? We are the luckiest people in the world. Can I get that on tape? There is nobody more lucky than we. Nobody. We are some lucky people, and I thank God every day that I got to come back here and that I get to be a part of this thing. Chapter 7 was written for me. I'm so glad that I got to go through that, and I'm so grateful to be here right now. I just turned 22 years old. That's right. That's right. So all of you who want to take my inventory, now you know how old I am. Go ahead. Go right ahead. It's okay. It's all right. I'm ready for you. So here's what happened. By the time I was 28, I'd lived all over the country, and I ended up in Loma Linda, California, where I went to my very first NA meeting. And it was a speaker meeting. And it was at a VA hospital. So I was really the only chick there. I was the only chick that was in this meeting. I had my little boy, he was like 8 or 9 years old at the time. It's my very first meeting. I came in there, I had all my biker clothes on. Can I get an amen for the bikers? Bikers! That's right. My main biker right there. Anyways, so I'm 28, got my kid, I'm dripping with turquoise, I could sell leather off my, I was a fucking, I was one of them. So I'm at my first meeting, and it was a speaker meeting, and there was a lady there, and her name is Shirley. And if you know old timers in California, you know Shirley and Alphonse, okay? So she was up there being the speaker. So I'm sitting in the back row, and I'm holding on to my kid's hand, and I'm watching this lady. Now, Shirley's an old school LA kind of broad, you know what I mean? And she was telling this story about working in a bar. Let's put it that way. She was a working girl and she was at this bar. And she was telling this story from the podium, and I'm sitting back there and I'm just like, what am I doing here? I've got 4 days clean. I'm like, what am I doing here? This is, okay, I know I'm supposed to be here because I can't keep living the way I was. I had no idea what NA was. It was my first NA meeting, and it's a speaker meeting, and Shirley's telling the story. And she's talking about being on Mountain View or Mount Vernon, or there's always a Mountain View or Mount Vernon. Which one's the one in San Bernardino? Mount Vernon. Anyway, so she's sitting there talking about how she had this big bouffant beehive hairdo back in the 60s and it was in ponytails on each side, and she was telling this story, and I'm going, what is the point of this? Rod telling this story, right? And then all of a sudden she talked about how she went to ask Johnny for a light of her cigarette, right? And she turned her head, and her beehive wig stayed in the same spot. So everybody in the room started laughing, and that was the point, man. I sat in there and I laughed for the first time, for real, in 10 years. I started doing gnarly bad drugs when I was 18 and didn't quit till I was 28. So laughing just wasn't part of the deal. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening to her, and it made me realize what the point was, that I was going to be okay. I had that feeling of, man, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Nobody move. I'm going to be okay. It's such a weird feeling to be like, okay, all right. So because I was at the VA hospital, I got 13th stepped immediately. And if you don't know what that's about, that's okay. You don't need to know. It's all right. And what I did is I told on that mofo and he got kicked out of the VA. It was great. He was sitting out in front of that meeting about a month later. Kari! Kari! And I ran over to his car and he opened up the door and a bunch of cans fell out. It was sad. So what happened back in those days is that 12 steps and the recovery movement with things like Hug Your Teddy Bear Anonymous, Codependency Anonymous, AMAC Anonymous, which was all these different kind of 12-step things were going on back in those days. It was 28 years ago, you know. So I got in on all of that. I did everything. I went to I have every problem you could possibly imagine. So I went to all of them. You know, I went to Debtors Anonymous. I went to Gamblers Anonymous. I went to all of them. That's what I did that. And so what I was clean and crazy, right? I was clean and I was crazy because I didn't quite have the capacity to really be honest with you. I wasn't really going to tell you all the really bad shit that happened to me, and I wasn't really going to tell. Now, I was really good at telling you how to do it. I was really, really good at going, oh, you need to read that page over there, and oh boy, I don't know, you really need some help, you know. It's like, I could quote shit out of the book. I could go to the back of the book and find what your problem was, and I could tell you how to do it, you know. Really what I was doing was trying to keep you away from me. I was really trying to keep you away from telling the truth, trying to get to me, trying to help me, because I didn't really want it. I wanted to be somebody in NA and I didn't want to do any of the work. What? We do that? Yeah. Us? We hang around and don't really do the steps? What? Oh my God! So here's what happens at 6 years clean. I'm 6 years clean, I'm somebody, and I've got a great job, because you know how we are. If you're an addict and you clean up and you get a job, you're the best at that job you've ever been. We work harder and faster and better and more. We're just better. We're just good. We're good people, man. We clean up, give us a job, we're going to do great. So I killed it. I was out there killing it. So I was property prestige and all that bullshit. And you know what? It got to me. So 6 years, 3 months, and a couple of days, this poor little newcomer walked in. He just got out of the joint. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was that guy. Yeah, I'm not even going to go there. I almost said it. I was sitting at the head of the table at the zoo, by the way, when he came in the door, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm finally going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. That was my new higher power. I was like, there's my higher power. And guess what? This is what I told that poor little newcomer. I've got 6 years, 3 months, and a couple of days, and I have an American Express card. Man, I really thought I was hot shit, all right? I was hot shit, by the way. Okay, so I was actually. But what I was very, very judgmental and egotistical and all this kind of shit. And it was like, you didn't ride your own bike and you were a chick and you were nothing. And, I really had some dumb ideas. And I really had some hate. What was really going on is I really fucking hated myself. I hated myself. I didn't like what was in here. I didn't like what was out here. I didn't like any of it. I felt like a jerk, a piece of crap. I just, I never felt good about me, ever. And so at 6 years, 3 months, and a couple of days, that newcomer, guess what? We ran off and got married because, he couldn't parole and live he had to get married. So we ran to Vegas and got married, and oh my God, he was still married, so it worked out great for me. So what happens is there I am, 10 months of hell, 10 months of that lifestyle again. And they really talk about the disease, doing push-ups just in the back of your mind, just doing push-ups, just waiting for the opportunity to just come back. And it did. It came back, and it almost ruined my life. Like it really, like it was crazy, you know. And everybody, you know, in that 6 years, 3 months, and a couple of days, all my friends went to drug and alcohol school because they all wanted to be drug and alcohol counselors. That's just what everybody did. So when I needed a place to go, they put me in a room. They put me in a place. I had a bed immediately. You know, I had a place, and that's where I went. I went to a recovery house, and I spent 7 days there. I went in there on a Friday, and by Saturday night, they always had an NA dance there, like every week, right? So by Saturday night, I got to go to this dance, right? And I already hit up the free closet, and I got my jammies, right? And I'm walking around in somebody else's big fuzzy slippers, right? But I'm like, I've got 1 day clean now, and I'm leaning up against this pole, listening to this music, and the song Sister Sledge, We Are Family came on. And you know what, man? I know how to groove. That's who I am. I know how to dance. I don't care if I look funny or stupid. I just know how to dance. So I'm sitting there. I'm leaning against that pole, and all of a sudden, that same feeling that I had came over me of I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. And then I was like, nobody move. Because I need to figure out, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I miss? The first thing that came to my mind was I didn't have a higher power. I didn't have a sponsor. And I never worked a thorough first step. I figured if you ain't shooting dope, you work a first step. How's that? That's that dummy mind, right? Oh my God. 7 days. So now I get out of this place, and that guy went back to jail. Thank you, God. Like, that guy went away. Now I got 7 days. I never even really did leave the program, you know. I kept going to meetings, and I went to meetings high. And they kicked me out because I wouldn't admit I was an addict. I actually got thrown out of an NA meeting because it's a closed meeting for addicts only. So they asked me to leave. What? I was your sponsor 2 years ago. I deserved it. The problem when you're not working steps and you're just clean and crazy is you talk a lot of shit to a lot of people, and I talked a lot of shit to a lot of people. I said, how dare you relapse? I can't believe you relapse. How dare you take advantage of the program? Blah, 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 blah. I talked out the side of my neck a lot. So now I got 7 days clean. I'm making amends to everybody I know. I'm really sorry I said that shit to you. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry I took your inventory and made an ass out of myself. Sally, I'm really sorry. You know, I didn't even have a sponsor yet, and I was making amends because I was still sponsoring myself. You dummy. So it's 6 months clean. I ride my little motorcycle over to Riverside Unity Day, and there was Nikki. Nikki was the main speaker for the daytime, and I'm sitting in the back row and I'm listening to her, taking her inventory, and I'm thinking, wow, she sounds a lot like my shit. Her story sounds a lot like mine. So I'm sitting there listening to her, and I'm going, I'm going to ask her to be my sponsor. I'm going to just do it. I'm just going to do it. So I go up to this little old lady after the meeting, and I'm so afraid of her, and I'm so afraid to do this, that all I could do was go, hey, how you doing? My name's Kari, and whoosh, I pulled out a postcard I had in my back pocket that had an invitation to a tattoo party at my house the next weekend. That's all I had. That's all I had. I didn't have the words to come out. So I handed it to her, and she goes, they're there. That's okay. I'm not coming to your... So I got on my little motorcycle and I rode back home, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. You're so dumb. How stupid. You're so stupid. I can't believe you did that, you big dummy. So then I just spent the next 3 months just kind of going to meetings and making amends. And there were some women there that were like, nah, I got more time than you now. For real. And now I sponsor her. So... now we're at the SoCal Regional Convention. Oh my goodness, that convention is huge, and it's one of the oldest conventions in our community. And it's there, it's 9 months. I just got 9 months at midnight that night. It's Saturday night, and there's a dance going on. It's a 2-story. It was at anyway. I'm with Rod, right? I'm with Rod and some other people, and all we had, nobody wanted to pay the $5 to get in the dance. All we had was one badge thing. So we were all like taking turns going in and out of the dance. Like nobody wanted, like everybody was too cheap to freaking pay for their own thing to go into the dance. It was just ridiculous. And fun, right? It was kind of fun. It's kind of fun because I got 9 months and I'm really happy because I'm with my homeboys and it's all good and shit. And I look down the thing, like it's a 2-story, right? So I look down, the escalators going down and shit, and I look down and I can see that lady Nikki sitting there. I can see her. Now this is the lady I hadn't seen in 3 months. There she was. There she was. So I'm like, okay, don't blow it this time, Kari. Don't blow it. Go ask her to be your sponsor. So I ride the escalator down, I'm praying the whole time. Well, I didn't even know what that was, so I was just kind of going, okay, just do it. So I sit down next to her, and I slide over to her, and I'm like, hey, my name's Kari, do you remember me? And she goes, hey, of course I remember you. And I went, you be my sponsor? And she said, I'd be honored to be your sponsor. Honored? What? Me? Honored? Dude, I said, okay, thank you. What do you want me to do? She's like, just relax. She wants to tell you what to do. I'm like, okay. I told you all of that story so that I could tell you this. This is how I work the steps in my sponsorship family. This is how I was taught to work the steps. So that's what I'm going to share with you guys. You all right with that? Yeah. All right. The first thing she had me do is write down at the top of a piece of paper, who is your higher power? So I'm like, oh, that's great. Okay, that's a great direction. That's great. She said, lives an hour and a half away from me. So I'm like, okay, I'm on the phone. Okay, who's my higher power? Thanks a lot, sponsor. Thanks a lot. And I hung up the phone. I'm like, I don't fucking know. That's a dumb question. What a dumb question. What is this? How's this going to work? What is this going to... Well, okay, let me just... Okay. I didn't know. So I called her back and I go, hi, no, it's really great. She goes, well, who's your higher power? And I go, I don't fucking know. It's a dumb question. I really don't know what to say. I don't know. I got nothing. She goes, okay, this is what you're gonna do. And I went, okay, I'm gonna do whatever you tell me to do, because you know what I never, ever want to do again in my life is get loaded.
How about that?
Right? I don't ever want to do that again. So when my sponsor told me to jump, I said, you got it. She told me to sit down and shut up. I sat down and I shut up. And she gave me a direction. I did it. I didn't argue with her. I didn't tell her, you know, I don't really think that step applies to me. That's my favorite one. That's the one that I really love the most. It's like, what? Wait, that step doesn't apply to you? Are you sure? Okay, all right. Okay, go back and do it again because you fucked it up, okay? Nikki told me, guess what you get to do for the next 7 days? And I went, whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do. She goes, you get your coffee, and you get your cigarette, and before the sun comes up, you go out on that back patio, and you watch that sun come up over the San Bernardino Mountains. 7 days in a row, and I just went, okay, that's great, all right, I'm on it. And I go, oh, what the fuck is that going to do for me? I don't know what that is. Whatever, okay, whatever, crazy lady. So the first day I get up there, I'm out there, I'm standing on the back patio with a cigarette, I'm drinking a cup of coffee, and I'm looking out there, and I'm going, great. Hurry up, son. You know, sun comes up, I go to work, I'm like, thanks, this is great. All right, now day two, I'm kind of like going, okay, all right, here we go. I'm standing outside, I'm kind of going, wow, it's kind of pretty around here. That's kind of cool, all right, that's kind of cool. I'm all right, I'm digging that. Okay, I'm going to go to work, By day seven, I'm out there. I can't wait to get out there. I'm out there before the fucking sun comes up. I'm out there, I'm looking around. There's the lady doing her gardening. There's the little dog over there. There's this tree. I had a fruit tree in my backyard. Never even looked at it before. I didn't know it had little flowers on it. It did. It was pretty. It was beautiful. It was awesome. So I'm looking at that and I'm going, wow, this is really cool. So then I get to call her up and she goes, who's your higher power? And I go, everything is my higher power. Everything that's beautiful and that's earthy and that makes me feel good, and the sun and the birds and all those friends and my friend Ed, and it's like honestly, it was a whole new thing for me. Like I could start seeing that there was a different way for me to look at stuff, and it wasn't this crazy weird other stuff. So the next thing I had to do is she goes, okay, how do you use your higher power? And I was like, that's great, okay. I hang up and I'm like, I don't fucking know, what am I gonna do about that? So what I started doing over the next few days is I started looking at you. I started looking at you. I started loving you. I started seeing God in you. I started understanding that I was an addict in recovery and that we got something here. So I started seeing God in your eyes. I started feeling your love. I started giving love. I started feeling that. So when I got to call her up and say, how do I use my higher power? I go, I use it by being grateful. I use it by showing gratitude. I use it by loving you. I use it by feeling you. So it was great. She goes, great, you're ready for step one. I was like, all right, here we go. Guess what? Most people miss this. That'd be me. Big old comma right in the middle of the step. We admitted we were powerless over our addiction. Comma. Right? So I had to make a list of the things I'm addicted to. Currently it's chocolate cake. Anybody else addicted to chocolate cake? No. Thank you for being so honest. Good. I had some before I got in here. Damn, it's good shit. So back in those days, I was addicted to anger, gossip, hatred, you name it, I was addicted to it. Anything that would make me feel like shit, I was addicted to it, right? So I called her up and I read her my list of the things I'm addicted to, and it was all bad. It was all bad. I mean, I didn't want nothing good in there. She goes, okay, now we get to do the part about how each one of those makes your life unmanageable. What? Okay, I'll do whatever you say because I never, ever want to get loaded again, ever. So I did what she told me to do. I wrote down about how when I lean into this addiction, my life is unmanageable, and this is how it's unmanageable. When I lean into eating too much cake, it's bad for me, and it makes me have a headache, and I get stupid, right? So I was able to, I spent the first couple of months really identifying how those addictions were affecting me, and how when I was leaning into them, they were making my life unmanageable. So the second after I did that, was we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. I said, when was I ever sane? Like, what does that mean? How do you get restored to sanity? Well, then I had to think back about, you know what, before all that bad stuff happened to me, I was a happy kid. You wanted to be friends, I was your best friend. You wanted to go steal something, I was stealing it with you. You wanted to, I was happy. I was a happy kid before all the bad shit happened. So it's like I kind of could get restored to that. Now I learned for in my life today, if I go, I have a higher power, I know how to use my higher power. If I lean into my addiction, my life's going to become unmanageable. So why don't I not do any of that shit, and then I'm already restored. I'm already stored. I'm already there, right? So it's pretty, for us, it's pretty good to be able to go, yeah, I have a higher power, I know how to use them, I'm addicted to this, and when I lean into it, my life becomes unmanageable, so I don't want to do that, so I'm already restored. So that was pretty good. So it took a while to get there, but that's how it goes for me now. Step 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. I love that word, understood. Guess what? It's italicized. It means something to me, because I like grammar and stuff. So, well, my sponsor knows how I am. She knows that I'm one of those kids that has a learning disability, right? So she has to draw me pictures. So I'm a very visual type of a person. I'm a visual learner. I'm a visual type person. So what she came up with for me is, how do you stand under something? It's a golf umbrella. You ever see a golf umbrella? That thing is fucking huge. It's bigger than you've ever seen. It's an umbrella that's bigger than you've ever seen, right? So if I'm standing under it and I'm holding on to my higher power and my life is good and I got my shit together and things are good and none of that bad stuff's getting on me, resentments, hatred, all that stuff, it's not getting on me because I'm standing under my higher power. I'm tight with my higher power. When I'm like this, oh, stuff is getting on me, man. I'm getting hurt. I'm allowing you to hurt me. I'm hurting you. It's bad. It's bad for me. Bad for me. So I just stand under my higher power. And I know that everybody gets to work the steps. I know one thing about the steps, the only wrong way to do them is not.
How about that?
Right? So you know what? I think what I really love about NA is that you get to do this any way you want to. You know, I mean, this is how I love sharing my story. I love how we do the steps. I always have. I love them. I don't give up. Look about what you do. I love how we do it. All right, so step 4. Now I'm ready. I'm ready to do step 4 because I have a higher power. I know how to use my higher power. I know if I lean into my addictions and my life becomes manageable, and I want to turn my will over my, you know what I'm saying. Okay. Okay, so step 4. We made a searching. There should be a comma there, by the way, grammar folks. But this was written before they came up with that grammar right before the end. You think I'm kidding? Okay. So we made a searching. What does that mean to you? It means searching. It means I have to be willing to be. I have to search. I had to go through boxes of pictures. I had to call my mom. I had to call my friends. I had to ask my, I had to find some. I had to do a searching. I had to search. That's the first part of the 4 steps of searching. You got to search. My sponsor said, "Okay, Kari, I want you to write down everybody you ever knew." She was surprised when I came to my 5th step with 350 names. She should have clarified a little bit. Yeah. So we do the searching part first, and then we do the fearless moral inventory, right? Moral inventory. So that doesn't mean you write about all the bad shit. Doesn't mean that you write about all the bad horrors of addiction, the horrors of being a kid in an abusive life. It doesn't talk about that. It talks about just a moral inventory, like what's your life about? Who are you? What is your, I had to write about things that were good for me, things that were bad for me. I had my dog on there. I had a couple of cats on there. I had, I wrote down lunch lady with the big smile, because I didn't know everybody's name, because I had to write all these names first. So I made the searching part. I did all the names. So I wrote all these freaking names, right? So I did all these names, and then it was like, okay, now what do you want me to do? She goes, okay, here's what I want you to do. And this is just old school shit, man. This is really old school. I feel / felt blank when blank it did blank. That's how simple this can be. That's so simple, isn't it? I feel pain when the babysitter's husband did, and I'm not going to get into all that. My part in it was, or is, nothing. I was a kid. But that's basically the formula that I did this 350 names. I did this because you know what I never, ever want to do again? I don't ever want to get loaded again, man. I don't ever want to do that life. I don't ever want to do that horror. because I don't fuck around. You know what I mean? I'm not a lightweight. Let's just put it that way. So here's the best part, right? Getting to that 5th step. So my sponsor, Nikki, in the meantime, moved all the way to Northern California, right? And I'm like, oh my God. So it's August, it's hot. I've got my 4th step ready. I'm gonna go do my 5th step. I'm all excited. I still had a couple of really gnarly names I had to do on that darn thing, but I was gonna get it done before I got up there. And so I'm riding this little tiny 650 freaking hot ass ride all the way up there. It's hours. It was like a freaking 10-hour ride to get to where I was going. And I'm hot and I'm dying and it's like, oh, I'm just in my Motel 6 room, my shitty little Motel 6 room, and I'm writing out that last fucking 4th step stuff because I don't ever want to get loaded again. And I'm sitting there doing it, I'm just pouring my heart out and I'm exhausted and I'm like, okay, that's it. Okay, I'm done. Right in the nick of time, okay? Yeah, procrastinator. But I did it. So my sponsor's really smart. She knows that I like She knows that I like kind of like the, like the Native American kind of stuff. Let's go sit up at Shaver Lake and I get to do this fifth step. I'm excited. It's beautiful. Shaver Lake is a very small lake with just these gigantic mountain range right there. And it's just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. And we're up there and we're sitting in her car for a couple hours and I'm pouring my guts out to her. And then we're sitting outside by the lake and then we're back in the car and then we're this and we're that. And we're just doing this. And I poured my heart out to her. I poured it out to her. I gave it all to her because I don't ever want to get loaded again. And I got all the way done with it. I got all the way done with everything. And we're sitting in her car and I'm like, okay, are we done? And she goes, well, not quite. She goes, you did a really, really good job, Kari, and I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you. But we're going to have to talk about those 5 abortions that you had. So we're going to talk about it, right? We need to talk about that. Because I just left them off the list. Wouldn't you? Yeah, right? So I had to name each one of those, little 5 souls. And then what she did is she handed me 5 little sage bundles. Little tiny baby sage bundles, little wrapped sage bundles. And she handed them to me and she said, you get to go do a 6th step now. Well, yeah, that's part of it, right? So I got out of the car and I was kind of dazed. It was really hard to get through all of that stuff and then to have this happen at the end of this. But like I said, I'm willing to do whatever it takes because I don't ever want to get loaded again. So I sat down by Shaver Lake and I started talking to God. So I was doing admitted to God, right? And I was admitting that I had this. This was me. This is the shit that was holding me back. These are the things that were hurting my soul. And I sat down there by Shaver Lake and I let those go. I let them into the lake. I let it go. I let it go. And I gave them to Shaver Lake. So all my stuff and all that pain and all that drudgery and all that stuff that we don't ever let go of it will kill us. It will make us relapse. It will make us commit suicide. It will do all of that stuff if we don't get rid of that shit. So that's what I did. I gave it to Shaver Lake, man. I gave it to Shaver Lake. And then we did a 6th and a 7th step right then and there. How is that for ya? Right? Because she had all those little notes. She had those notes. She was writing notes. She was taking my inventory. And she was able to show me my defects of character. And she was able, right? No, to do that because you relate. I know it. I could tell. And then I humbly asked him to remove my shortcomings. I humbly asked him right then and there, and I was like, man, I see it, I got it. And then 2 years later, Nikki sent me that list with all those names on it so that I could do my 8th step. Right? Because I'd already made a list. That's a pretty substantial list. Thank God she held on to it for me, right? And she sent it to me because I thought I was done. I didn't have to do nothing more, right? Nope. 2 years later, she sent me this 8-step list. Of course, I didn't do 350 amends because that's not how that worked. But what I did do is, in step 8, we made a list of persons we had harmed. And we became willing to make amends for them all. So the 8th step is really about what makes you willing. What makes you willing? You know why I'm willing? Because I'm a dope fiend that relapsed and I don't ever want to do that again. I'm willing. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing. So I was willing and ready to do this. So I wrote some more stuff down there, like, I'm just going to say it, the Ford Motor Credit Company. The night I went into my recovery house, I had somebody come steal my car. That would be injure them or others. Not going to jail for that. Oh, like y'all never did that. So I had that list, and then step 9, I was ready to make we made direct amends to such people wherever possible. Okay, I made direct amends to the people that I had harmed. I made direct amends, even if I didn't want to. I did it anyway. I went up there, I did my amends, I did what I was supposed to do. And I did it bravely, solemn, just total solid shit, just went there and did it because I knew that I don't ever want to do dope again. So I did that. Except when to do so or injure them or others. Ford Motor Credit Company, that's me, I'm the other, I'm not going to injure myself over that, sorry, get over it. But my sponsor, what she did is she was really smart about this. There's people that I'm not ever going to make amends to. There's people that don't want to talk to me, and that's okay. So what we do in my sponsorship family is we have a list of the people, the leftovers, or the people that have died, or whatever, the people we can't make direct amends to, and we assign a task to that name. You assign a task. You go and you go to the homeless shelter and you pass out food. Or you donate clothes, or you donate time, and every time you do something like that, it goes to that name that you're never ever going to be able to make direct amends to.
That's good.
So it's kind of a thing, you know. You check them off your list, and it was great. It's great. It's like every time I would do something like that, I would go and I'd be able to go, oh, that's good. Okay, good. I'm done. I'm good on that. Step 10. We continue to take personal inventory. And when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Okay. That's a tough one, man. I still struggle with that. Is it your fault or my fault? I'm so codependent. It's like, I don't know. Actually, what's really great about being clean a long time and actually working all the steps and the traditions and all that stuff and how to sponsor as a sponsor, blah, blah, blah. What that does is it allows you to know when you screw up. It allows you to know when you when you harm somebody. It allows you to know in here. Like it took me years to get my heart and my head together, man. Like that finally happened for me. My sponsor told me when I first met her, she said, Kari, you need to find the love of the program. Because I was a hater. I was a hater. Talking shit about everybody. My girls up in the front row know all about talk shit. Even Sally. It's a long story, and I'll tell you sometime if you ask me about it. So what I try to do now is I try to do that little tool about thinking about things before I go to bed. And I think about if I owe somebody an amends, and if I need to do that. And I'm pretty good at calling people now and just going, man, I had a bad day. Or something was going on, or I'm really sorry that this happened, and you know, I don't typically want to be that way, or whatever. Like I'm able to identify what's wrong with me, and I'm able to go, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. You know, because it's about, I don't want to feel bad about myself, man. I work my ass off in this program. I don't want to go around feeling bad about myself. So I make those amends. I do a 10-step, big deal. Get over it, just do it. All right, step 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Pretty cool, but if you don't have a God and you don't know how to meditate, and you're just kind of like, well, how does that really apply to me? You can just get our Just for Today. It's a daily meditation for addicts, written for addicts, for addicts. It's pretty bitchin', right? Right? I mean, there you go. You can just pick a topic and meditate on it. Now meditation for me is different, right? Like when I was 14, I had to go to transcendental meditation with my dad. That was really fun. It's a long story. I do pray and meditate though. I've learned how to pray for other people. I've learned how to turn people over to God. Yeah, that's big stuff, huh? You know, and I've really... It's a different life today for me, man. I'm not who I was when I got here. And what's awesome about having friends for a really long time is that they know that about you. They can they can testify about that, you know. Knowing people for a long time in the program, so you guys got to stick together, you know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, right? We tried to carry this message to addicts, and to practice these principles in all our affairs. What I'm doing right now is I'm doing a 12-step with you guys right now. But I can't let you go without telling my story about Mark. I can't. I got to tell you about Mark.
Bring it.
All right? Mark is the guy that goes to every meeting with, oh, you told me you probably actually have seen Mark. Mark has the NA book. He has a 12 by 12, and he has the cover with his medallion on it, and he knows everything about NA. Mark knows everything about NA. Mark could tell you everything about NA. Like he tried to own NA. Like he thought he actually owned NA. And so I had a problem with Mark. No, I know you can't believe that about me. I know you can't. I know you can tell. I'm so sad. So what I would do with Mark, especially in the beginning of my recovery, is I would go out in front of meetings after the meeting and want to fight him. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't stand this guy. He was too much. Probably was a little bit like me, you know how they say that, right? Like when you're doing this and you're doing that, and really you're doing this, you know, whatever. So, this guy would drive me crazy. So I couldn't take it anymore. Like, I mean, this guy would never give an inch. Like, I could never be right. I never got to be right with this guy. So I go home. I call Nikki on the phone, and I'm like, it's that Mark guy again. Mark again. She's like, oh my God, I am so sick of hearing about Mark, Kari. Go get your book. I was like, oh, here we go. What? She goes, read step 12. Blah, 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 blah. Read it again. Having a spiritual language. I read it again. She said, read it again. I'm like, Nikki, what are you trying to say to me? What are you trying to say to me? And she goes, Kari, what's the word between Kari and message? And I went, what? The word this? And she goes, ding, 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 ding. You got it. And I was like, sorry, Nikki, I still don't know what you're trying to say to me. And she goes, Kari, if you get to carry your message, Mark gets to carry his message. And I was like, bitch! That's what a good sponsor will do to you. A good sponsor will tell you when you're screwing up and tell you that you are being judgmental and stupid. And I was like, what? Oh my God. And you know what? When she pointed it out to me, and I really got to take a good look at that, and I went, yeah, you know, you're right. This is just dumb. Like, why am I fighting this guy? You know, what is the problem? So once she pointed out to me that every addict gets to carry any message they want, and my job is to love them. My job is to only love you, not judge you, not make you feel like shit, not bring you down. My job is to love you and bring you up. There's no in between. There's just nothing. My job is to allow you to be exactly who you are, and I'm going to be exactly who I am. It's kind of hard when you're like me, because I'm an out loud motherfucker. And I cause a lot of trouble. But the truth is that I love you. I want to be here. I want to be in NA. I'm a member because I say I am. Right? I am a member of Narcotics Anonymous. And I love Cabana. I love my Cabana people. I love being part of RBS. Yeah, I just did that. I totally just did that. Thank you, dear. Here's what I know about NA. Literature. It doesn't talk shit about you. It doesn't talk back to you. It will never lie to you. Recovery is in the literature. I rely on my literature. I love you guys. I do. But the bottom line is, when I relapsed, I tried to blame you guys. I did. It took me 2 years to get over that. Well, if you guys only would have told me that I was in relapse behavior. If you guys would have only... I blamed everything on you. And it took me a couple of years to realize that I chose to relapse. And I chose to relapse because I wasn't ready. I was too afraid. You weren't going to love me. You were going to see right through me. You weren't going to think I was a badass. And I wanted that. I really wanted you to think that about me. And I was too afraid. So I relapsed. Period. And man, am I glad I got to do that, because I would have never met Nikki. And I would never have the program I have today. And I owe her everything. And I want to thank you guys for having me. Am I good? Am I good on time?